Hello guys, welcome back again, and today we'll talk about Python's for loop, and all the codes of this video will be available at GitHub, link in the description. And as in my previous tutorial, we talk about while loop, and over there we'll see while loop work with different conditions like we apply some condition like I is less than 4 or some number, but that is not gonna happen in case of for loop, because here we're gonna simply iterating through different sequence like list, tuple, dictionary, or some other built-in iterable. So let's see how for loop iterate through all these iterables. And for that, I'm gonna do what? I'm gonna create a list of number, and then I'll try to print all the number one by one. So let's say new, and this list is store different numbers. And now let's print all the number one by one simply using print function. Say new and put the index of the number, and move to the next one. Print new, put the index, and print new index, and let's run them. See, all the three numbers printed one by one. Now what if I say if a list consists of 100 number, means the length of list is 100. Are we gonna do that very same thing? No, it's really gonna be pretty longer process if we try that very same thing. That's where the for loop comes in action. So simply for loop do what? For I in say new, and let me explain this particular line. Here you will see for, it represents the for loop, and I stored the particular number of this list at a one particular time. So if I run it, print I, it will iterate through this list. So let's run it. See, it gonna iterate to all the number of this list. Let me comment the earlier one, and let's run it again. See, it will iterate to all the number 1, 2, 5, one by one. We don't have to write down the whole code for each and every number. Now what if we have a sequence of 100 number? So for that I'm gonna say for I in range, and range gonna create a sequence of 100 number. So we use range function to create a sequence of 100 number. So if I run it, say print I, and let's run it, it's gonna print all the number from 0 till the 99. You'll see here 0 to the 99 except the 100, because it not include 100. Seems pretty easy. Think about it. If we try to do that very same thing using print function, it's really gonna take a lot much time. Now let's try to inbuild some conditional statement within our for loop. So let me comment that out first, and for that I create two new empty lists. Say even and equivalent to an empty list, then odd equivalent to the empty list. And why I'm creating this, rest of the code will tell you why I'm creating this list. Now let's try to iterate through a sequence of 100 numbers. Say for I in range called 100, and let's put our first condition called if I divisible by 2 is equivalent to 0. So what I do over here, simply we are saying if a number is even, then we're gonna store that number in a empty list called even. That's why we create these two lists. Say even dot append I. Same thing, say else the odd one append I. So here we create two lists and we append different numbers in these two lists. Now let's try to run all these things. Say print is, so let's print a odd list. It print all the number consisting that list odd one. So all these number like 1, 3, 5, 7 present in an odd list. Similarly, we can create another list called print the is, you'll see, and let's run it. It's gonna print the even list now. So this way we employ or deploy some if and else conditional statement within our for loop. Now what if I say if we want to stop our for loop at one certain condition, or we want to skip a particular iteration? You know what I'm talking? I'm talking about break and continue statement. So let's see how these are using in for loop. So we're gonna say simply, let me comment that out first. So simply say for I in range, this time we create a sequence of 10, and then say if I is equivalent to what? Say 8, then break at that position and then print I. So if I run it, you'll see it's gonna do what? See, it will output all the number. When the number reaches to 8, it will stop the iteration. That's what break statement do. It will break the loop or break the iteration at that one particular condition. Similarly, we can skip the one particular iteration. This one is continue. Say for I in range 10, and we say if I is equivalent to 3, then we continue and then print the rest numbers. Let's run it. It's gonna print all the number except that 3. It's gonna skip that one particular iteration when I is equals to 3. Now what about pass statement? When we use pass statement with for loop, let's say, let me comment that out first. Say next one is what? Pass, and for I in range say 1 0, and now we didn't want anything as an output, so that's where pass statement become handy. So if I say pass, it didn't gonna output anything. See, it will pass down the whole loop. That's where pass statement is used. So let's try to nest a for loop within a for loop. So for that, let's create a to list called list1 equivalent to few numbers, and create a list 2 equivalent to some certain numbers. And now we're gonna run down a for loop within a for loop. So let's first iterate through list 1, and then we're gonna iterate through list 2. Simply say for I in list 1, and then say for x in list 2. We have a 2 different lists and we nest them within our for loop. So now it's condition time. Say if I is equivalent to x, then we'll say print the number of time I equivalent to x. We will print that particular hello world. So let's run it. Oh, it's something is, oh, we didn't define, oh, we didn't enclose the list. Opening bracket is missing. Let's close it and let's run it again. See, it's gonna output twice hello world. So means 2 number of list 1 and list 2 are equal. So this is how we nest one for loop with another one, and we try to iterate through different sequences like list or range or a string. And all the code that we discuss over here will be available in the GitHub. Try them out by yourself. And that's it for today's lecture. See you in the next one.